Hello, welcome to Fridays at 4 on twitch.tv/DDO stream. I'm your community manager, Cordovan, and we have a little bit of news today, which is that next Wednesday, August 20th, we will be releasing The Chill of Ravenloft. So that is really the big news of today is we're here ready to announce our release date for Chill of Ravenloft, and that will be next Wednesday. A lot of you have already pre-purchased it. You can find out more on DDO.com if you need to. We're going to be running some other Ravenloft stuff a little bit later on today after we get to some news. And we do have a lot of news to talk about because it has been a very busy week in the world of Dungeons & Dragons Online. We've been dealing with lag, updates, expansions, transfers. Gosh, a lot, you could say. Rare loot's certainly been up there in terms of big discussion points as well. But I really want to start by just reminding people, because this does get out to a large audience. I am keeping the focus briefly here on the Chill of Ravenloft by just showing you the pre-purchase page. You can go check it out right now. Oops. And yeah, here we go. We're doing this starting next week. This has been out for a little while in terms of this information. We will have a launch trailer for next week. I can't show that to you today. It's not quite ready to launch because it is a launch trailer. But that is happening. So that is also underway. I took a look at it. I'm liking the launch trailer. It's pretty cool. Getting all of our things ready. What you're seeing here is just some landscape video. And what you heard before was an audio track from, I believe, the public area of the Chill of Ravenloft. And I guess I could also... Oh, can I put this up? Yeah, I could put this up. So this is all old information in many ways. But we do have what will be our final release notes that we're working on right now for next week as well. That was a task for today, is to kind of get it in close to its final state. Not really there yet. And you've already seen all this because really this is a repeat of what you've seen on Lamania. But we're getting it ready to go. There may be a few things that you're unaware of. For example, some of the other bug fixes that we have so far in for update 75 is a path issue with some wood elves. A bug, actually, some of these things actually went out this week. The second, third, and fourth, all that went out this week. Well, actually, all four of these. Okay, well, all four of these went out this week. But we have other bits in the feats. Enhancement, dark gifts, we're refunding it if you got one early as a dark bargainer. You can find a shrine to the mists in the Lamordia landscape. It'll allow any player the ability to get a dark gift temporary feat, or for legendary players, the ability to upgrade their dark gift. This comes from the most recent Lamania that we talked about, the shrine to the mists in the Lamordia landscape. You'll be able to make an offering to the shrine. It's an item called Offerings to the Dark Powers. They will appear in Saga reward tables in both heroic and legendary difficulty. You can only have one shrine dark gift at a time. It's a temporary feat. Doesn't work with Fred. If you reincarnate, it's lost. You need to get it again. And you can upgrade it once you hit level 30 plus with a great offering of the Dark Powers, which is in the Legendary Saga table. And then we talk a little bit about what the upgrades give you with the Dark Gifts. So that's a mechanic here that's with the Chill of Ravenloft. We have also going to be added the Frozen Bottle of Mist to the Chill of Ravenloft bundle item vendor come August 20th. I've already gone through the Victranium experiment crafting system, a item and augment upgrade system that'll be familiar to you if you have played the Isle of Dread, but it's Lamordia themed for this one. Fix an issue with that in death animations. Fixing an old issue in Shadow Crypt, where some shadows were failing to properly aggro on players if they were undead. We also fixed an issue with Chaos Mancer spells. Oh, and this one too. A known issue due to a recording issue. I am going to be your DM briefly for a little bit. A couple of dungeons got some DM voiceover work missed during the recording session, and until we get a make good on that, I had to fill in. So that make good will take place because it's the same people doing the raid. But until we can get that raid recording session done, which will be in a couple of months, a month or so, I think. For now, anyway, my voice will be in a few of the quests here for Chill the Ravenloft for next week as placeholder stuff, and that was really fun to do. I don't have the list of DM names in front of me. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared to answer that question here today. It's a great question, I just don't know it. The new coupon code will not be today. It is on our agenda to do as soon as we can. So really here's where we are right now. We're getting ready to release Chill of Ravenloft. We've got this free coupon code in the works. We released one this week that I'll get to in a little bit. We did a bunch of lag work this week. That lag work is continuing both today and through the weekend, but we have seen positive benefit. We know we've got the August 31st deadline on our server move out of our old data center. So there was an extended downtime this week, a very long downtime, that really facilitated the movement of some of the last pieces from the data center. We're working to bring up our ghost worlds. So that's a project we need to get ready to launch not long after August 31st. It'll probably be something in the range of a few days before, but when the 32-bit worlds go down and the 64-bit worlds come up, it might be a little bit longer than that. We don't have guidance for you today, but we're working to get that guidance for you as soon as we can. So we've just got a lot of dollar bills flying around to that money grab machine. Basically, just lots of thousand things happening. It's a flurry of activity, and we're grabbing pieces as best we can. So, but that is where we are today. We have made significant progress, thankfully, on the game performance for this past week. Just in the past 24 hours, we brought the worlds down for an update. That was last night. And this is what we fixed. Well, with one exception that we're still investigating. Adjustments have been made to the way the monster manual updates during combat. This is for game performance. You shouldn't notice anything different about the way your the operation of your monster manual works. We've adjusted a property that handles removal of what's called no longer needed data behind the scenes during gameplay. This is not really anything that you'd have to deal with too much, but we think this was a significant contributor to the game performance issues we've been seeing. And if you think about the way an MMO works, it's really a constant flow of communication to and from your local game client to a server and back. And pretty quickly, a lot of that information is no longer necessary. It doesn't need to know that, a minute ago you walked here or you opened that thing or whatever, right? Because the action's already taken place. And so there's a system really to not just preserve the things that need to be preserved, but to clean up the things that need to be cleaned up that are no longer necessary. And it's how you keep your gameplay, your game running smooth. And that system essentially works periodically. You set it at a time and it just says, all right, everything in the junk folder can just go. Well, what we've discovered during our investigation is that when it was operating, it was putting too much stress essentially on the game environment. So what we've done to resolve that is to have it run more frequently. And the reason that resolves things is because it doesn't have as much to clean up every time. If it runs twice as often, it cleans half as much each time. So, and that was ultimately a pretty big indicator that we saw in our data reports for game performance over the past week, and it took a little while to identify it, find the solution, and get that done. But we did get that done this week, and it does appear to have made a pretty significant difference on gameplay. We'll know a lot more after this weekend. And we don't necessarily know that it's exactly where it needs to be, but it's certainly better than where it was. The other thing we've did this past 24 hours is we adjusted an issue with Guild Renown Decay that has been a bit of a head scratcher. when we bring the worlds down of late, some guilds have been having a large amount of guild renown loss. Typically, guilds that are like level 200 are the ones that notice it the most. Um, and the problem is that all the levers to assign guild renown have already been turned off. Any form of guild renown decay was already turned off. So why were you seeing decay? Well, we don't know either, because there should, in theory, have been no way that it was happening, but it was happening anyway. And we went and have had for, I guess, a week and a half or so now, a couple of weeks really, people on Keyway who have just done the work to watch it happen over time and document everything and go behind the scenes and see what said what and what went where and why did this actually happen. So we know that it's happening, but we still don't entirely know why it's happening. However, what we did do this week is described as lobotomize it. So we essentially further disconnected renown decay entirely from the renown system for now, since we're not doing renown decay anyway right now. And then we'll have to sort it out before it comes back, or make it a part of the new system, whatever, moving forward. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Well, it would be great if we could know what was doing it, and I'm sure we will get there. But for today, for this week, and it worked for the downtime, you should not be having further guild renown decay during downtimes. The other big piece we fixed this week is an issue with specific enhancement familiars. And people are saying pets getting stuck at portals, but that's not really, they're not really pets, they're familiars, and they're the enhancement ones. Pseudo dragons, Fate Arc Illusionists, things like that. And we fixed an issue that was causing them to stay behind, and also did some other game performance work involving them. We worked on their pathing, we worked on their movement speed, and we now have them hiding during combat, so they will no longer be part of the calculations in combat. The other piece that we kind of fixed is we corrected an issue that was preventing players from entering a majority of guild airship portals. However, we have still seen players unable to use portals since this, so that is an issue that clearly we still need to work on for a while. But some progress was made toward that issue this week. Okay. We did increase a coupon code. I guess I could put this up on the screen just for those who wish the visual assistance. The coupon code is Get Me There. This debuted last week. We've added to it, so it's now 5 per account, and each one will get you 5 Guild Airship beacons, and you can use that to get to Guild Airship portals if you find that you're stuck because you can't use a Guild Airship portal. So. Oh, yeah, here's the other coupon, and then I do have something I should mention as well. This is going to be a next week. It's going to be a next week thing, but I will get to that in a second. The other coupon code that we released this week is Favored Memories. This is 1 per account, and it's available through September 14th, and this aims to address people who particularly got stuck unable to log into a character on the 64-bit world after transferring from a 32-bit world because they had an account level favor unlock that was not able to persist through the transfer process. However, this is just going to grant it to everybody. So if you don't have any, if there's a single one of these things that you don't already have unlocked for your account, you might as well use the coupon code Favored Memories through September 14th and get Artificer, Favored Soul, Warforged, and 32-bit characters. 32-bit characters. 32-point build characters to your account. They will be in 64 bits, I think. Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, that happened too this week. That really was us calling an audible ahead of the wider free coupon code release because we know it's going to be a little while yet before we're able to offer that. And we didn't want to keep people waiting any longer than they already have to unlock Favored Soul, Warforged, Artificer, and 32-point builds. Oh, okay. So the other thing I want to mention is we are on track probably next week. I assume this is next week to get you some information. Where I'm not seeing it now, unfortunately. Let's see if I can find it. We have some messaging that we need to do. And the reason for that is we're getting closer to the end of August. And so there's some things in the 32-bit worlds that we need to sort before the end of August. All right, where do I see this? I'm not seeing it. All right, hang on. Here we go. So, the timing of the dating is yet to be determined, but will be sometime in the next couple of weeks for the following, which is that we need to get our 32-bit game worlds ready to close after August 31st and get them ready to reopen as ghost worlds in the near future after that. And we want as many people as possible to get their characters off the 32-bit game worlds before then. And as part of that, we need to make some of the following changes. So, we are going to be disabling posting of new auctions to the auction house on the 32-bit game worlds. Time TBD, date TBD, but sometime pretty soon here because we need to do it. Now, in many cases, this is a non-issue. If you go to the auction houses, there's not really a whole lot going on already, but we need to make sure of that. So the ability to bid on auctions will also be disabled. So we'll start by posting the ability with disabling the ability to post so that existing people can bid and the auction house will clear out. Then we're going to turn off the ability to bid on auctions, and that should take care of the auction house here before August 31st. We also need to disable the ability to create new characters on our 32-bit game worlds, and we want to wait until fairly late in the process for that because we know some people are using that as a way to deal with additional packing and transfers. We want you to get that done by August 31st, but at some point we're going to need to disable the ability to create new characters on the 32-bit worlds as well. And that should be sometime probably closer to the end of August 31st. To facilitate people actually not playing on the 32-bit worlds, we're going to turn off daily dice, and we're going to not enable any bonus days. Probably starting next week would be my guess, but we'll see on that. And that is because we want you to move. We want you to move. So all that should be done. And part of that document, or at least as in conjunction with that document, we're intending to put together a FAQ that'll answer a lot of other questions you might have, like what if I have an outstanding ticket? What if I have a character that hasn't transferred yet? What if I have a character that I'm stuck in being unable to transfer? All that kind of thing. What am I going to do on Ghost Worlds? When are the Ghost Worlds coming? All that kind of stuff are questions that are swirling around that we need to address here before August 31st, and the work is underway to get that documentation out to you. Is it possible to transfer with no packing? No. You must pack before transfer. This is something that is going to come up when we start doing 64-bit to 64-bit transfers, which is that, let's say you don't want to pack and lose your stuff on Cormier. You just want to bring a character to Thrain. And we're aware that that's a concern, and we're going to have to figure that one out, frankly, before we do the 64-bit to 64-bit transfers. But it's on our mind, and it's in our process as it is. Do we expect more reasonably impactful lag fixes when the expansion releases? Well, if there is anything that we can add to the expansion build before then, we will. However, this week's patch was really the bulk of the work that we've been able to do to date. And if you think about the way a build works for an expansion, if we're going live on Wednesday, then we need to pull that build something like tonight in order for it to be released come next Wednesday. So that would mean that any changes that came in from, say, past 40 hours would be what we could include. And I'm not aware of any big impactful lag fixes, because ultimately if we had them, they would have gone out last night. So no, autos did not get extended. We could do something like make a new transfer command that includes character inventory and character bank. All those are going to have to be questions we'll have to answer when the time comes for that. All right. I think I'm mostly up to date on that. I think I've brought you up to speed on game performance. We're really hopeful that we have a decent weekend here. It would be great if that were true. We definitely know that we have made progress. You know, we have some charts and graphs and things that we can look at to assist and kind of get a sense of what is actually happening. We've also been playing on the worlds a ton, but that's where we are. All right, so since last we met, I have been leveling up Armagh a little bit. And what I've been mostly doing is just getting this character ready. I had reincarnated a while back. And you know what? I am actually going to have to switch screens here. I realize I screwed something up. I need to relaunch my client. I have a thing active that can't be active because I was testing a thing. All right. Hang on. Armagh. The story is it was Beefheart the Vegetarian, and then because I moved to become an employee at that time, there was a policy where you had to rename your existing characters because you couldn't have a bunch of people know who your old play character was. It was never particularly relevant when it came to me, but it was part of company policy, so I had to rename Beefheart the Vegetarian and move him from Sarlona, I think it was, to Khyber. And then I came up with a little story. It's like he gets to the city gate. And they're like, "What's your name?" And he's, "My name is B." And the person goes, "All right, Armagh." That's the story behind the name. No, this isn't. What I was running is really an internal security piece of software that lets me access certain things that don't interact well if I've got the live game client going on at the same time. And it manifests in what you just saw, me not actually being able to step into the mist. And if I had kept it going, the client would have just crashed. Oh, except you didn't see it because I haven't swapped cameras again. Here we go. Nowadays, we don't really have that company policy. It would be up to a particular employee to be like, well, I want to stay hidden, as it were. And in that case, we would offer some kind of free transfer and rename, although that's not at all relevant today, but at various points it has been. Oh, I was going to bring out the new level 8 hireling as well, just for funsies. But now I'm streaming with my play characters. Haha, take that, old HR. You want to know who Beefheart is? This is Beefheart. I'm playing him on every Friday at Fridays at 4. But back in the day, there was more of a separation in that regard. And you know, me and Tolero were among the first, quote, players who were hired for the team. So we had some special considerations back in the day.
A raven cries somewhere overhead.
I was level, I think, 4 or 5, maybe 5 or 6 last time we met, and I just did a bit of leveling up. I ran through the Feywild Saga and the... another saga. Saltmarsh Saga, Feywild Saga, and that's really where I left off, and now I'm level 12, and I'm just going to run through Ravenloft here, and by that point, I don't know what I'll be. 14, maybe? Something like that. We'll just sort of see where I go from there. I've been running on Reaper 1, just or a little bit of Reaper XP on this character, but I'm not generally doing that on the live stream.
Clatters to the ground. As you recover, you realize you can hear noise from up the road to the east. The same way you...
Main thing I picked up is I've picked up the charge. The lead the charge, and that's been fun to use. Well, most of this, to be fair, most of the actual, you're right, I could get paid to level, except I'm always busy doing other work. So in practice, that never really works out that way. But, I've been playing at nights and evenings and weekends a lot. You know, one of the things many of us have, with all the game performance reports and game performance concerns, is we want to make sure that we have as good a sense as possible, based on real applied experience, what's happening there.
He was afraid.
So most of that leveling was just off camera, just doing it at night, going through things, seeing the kind of game performance, the hitching, and that you've been experiencing as well. Grabbing it on video when I can, doing lokes when I see them. And what I mean by that is type, there we go, Mike. Type /LOC into chat. Anyone can do this, and you'll get this information, which is useful to, say, someone like an engineer, when we do need to take a look at what's happening in the environment. Especially ahead of Thursday, this was super important, that we really did dedicate a bunch of time to... I mean, we've been working till... not all of us, but folks like myself have largely been on call, working every day, for at least 8 hours since something like July, mid-late July. So we're going on about a month here. Let me just say, we very much agree with you that we want and are hopeful that our game performance issues have been significantly impacted by the work done this week, because we too would love to have this problem solved. The good news is we have seen lag, but we have also seen significant improvement based so far on last night's hotfix. I do play other games too. Everyone knows I'm an old Atari dude, an old retro gamer, and things like that. And I've also been having to do, because I think many of you also know, we've been getting these similar reports on both the Dungeons & Dragons online side and the Lord of the Rings online side. The cause of their game performance issues has, to date at least, not at all been determined to have anything to do with each other. But nonetheless, it hasn't just been on fire here, it's been on fire all over the place. Who knew that fires could start on fire? but there you go.
Small, distant voices spring from nowhere.
We're so hungry. Find us. Behind the step, it squeaks. Here we are.
You spot something in the middle of the room. Something small and old and forgotten.
We're tired. We've been here so long. We want to rest. Take us to a nice place to rest. We're tired. We want to rest now.
So far, the reason I bring up the Lotro
It leads down to the basement.
stuff is other than just sort of letting you understand that is in fact going on, but it's also that we have had to do much of the same kind of investigative work, just logging in and playing a whole bunch of hours for both games too. So I haven't just been doing this on the Dungeons and Dragons online side, but the Lord of the Rings online side as well. Although in practice, it really became more a matter of doing it on the DDO side, and then now turning my attention to the Lord of the Rings online side. And that is what I'm up to these days, the past couple of days. But nonetheless, Armagh is making progress. I didn't really intend to reincarnate this character. That wasn't actually my plan. But I did it during the server transfer. Oh, this always gets me. This one always gets me. I don't know why I am so bad at remembering that this spike trap is here. But every single time that we have gone through this content, I think I've probably died here. There we go. That's we need the key.
This door is locked up tight. Perhaps you can find a key.
Nothing is ruled out. I mean, it's to the question of, have we found the solution? What's ruled out? Have we ruled out? Nothing is ruled out. Even if you are nearly 100% sure that it can't be X, that's not the same as it being ruled out. So at this point in the game, nothing is ruled out. In general, we have not found environmental issues that have led us to be able to do anything that we can see improvement toward. I guess that's how I'd describe it. There was a bunch of optimization that happened, say, between July 15th and 20th, and then again on, like, what, the 25th and such. So, yeah, plenty of stuff has been done. But in terms of between, say, August, whatever day today is, 15th, August 12th and 15th, not necessarily. I know why I do run into that trap, by the way. The reason I run into that trap is because these hallways are a bunch of twisty little turny passages all alike. Just like Zork. Is there actually a reason I even wanted to do this? There is literally no reason I did this. Okay, great. Yeah, I am very excited for Lamortia as well. It's going to be fun. So, level 8 on Heroic, and then level cap for Legendary. And it should be a really good time, I think. I've been seeing it myself. You've been seeing it, perhaps, yourself. Okay, I am missing a lever. I'm going to just assume I need to go directions that I have not gone. So the biggest news is that we're releasing Update 75 on Wednesday. Everything else is pretty much in and around or somehow related to said news. Alright, so that should be my last door. All my people have decent enough stuff, so I think we're good to go. Yes, that'll be the expansion. So the expansion is releasing on Wednesday. We'll have something presumably like a 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. downtime, and then we'll release the expansion.
On top of the desk, you find a tarnished key.
I'll be curious too, one of the things we have not done in a while is this crafting system isn't just for legendary items. There is a heroic component of the Victranium crafting system as well. And the goal is, one of the main challenges you run into a system like that is you'll be in a place where you're like, okay, what do I need to do? What am I not doing? I need to they tend to be a little grindy, right? Because you have to get ingredients for all that stuff, which is why it works for a legendary kind of endgame system. It's much more difficult to deal with ingredients and drop rates on the heroic version of it, because you'll run into a situation where you could very easily outlevel the system by the time you get all the ingredients. And some games do that, and we've even done that ourselves, I believe, over the years. But my understanding is, in general, we want the acquisition of heroic ingredients to be in line with running through the content and being able to make a thing. So we'll see where we end up there, but we haven't really had this kind of system back in heroic for a while, so it'll be kind of interesting to see what we end up doing there. Okay. So, I need to find my basement. I am just going to assume it's where I have not gone. But on this character, so this character is a Dragon Lord with Stalwart Defender. The basic idea is I'm making a two-handed fighter character. That's the Beefheart standard. He's got to be a fighter, got to be a two-hander for the most part, or Bastard Sword and Tower Shield. Self-imposed limits there based on just the way this character is, who this character is. But anyway, so this time around, I'm doing a Dragon Lord and Stalwart Defender, and really just bumping up the PRR, MRR, AC, gonna get as high in Intimidate as I can, and roll with it. That's my plan. So, always human. Armag is always human. But I want this character to stay at level cap for a while, so part of what I'm doing, besides just using the sagas to make it easy to level up and such, is I want to keep this character once I get to level 34 here for a while. And so as a result, I'm going to try to do the raid flagging and what have you, and let this be sort of my character for for a while to play not just legendary content, but higher end Reaper and raids and what have you. That is the goal with our mod on Thrain. And then once I've sort of gotten this character back to level 34 and raid ready, I'm going to swap my attention back to Shadowdale, where I already have a level 34 character. So that's part of why I'm playing on Thrain right now, is because I already have this stuff on the other world. But I want to get one on Thrain and on Moonsea as well. I will get a character on Moonsea here. That's all raid ready and level capped as well. At least one character is my goal on all the 6 4-bit worlds, basically ready to run raids, basically ready to run level cap, and then work on any alts or such as needed. But I usually try to keep at least one character at cap when I can. Also, I left behind my hireling. Sorry, hireling. How far away did I leave you? Oh. Nope. You can just stay there, buddy.
The sound of chanting echoes from down the hallway. Robed apparitions surround the altar, chanting, "He is the ancient."
Respec to level 20. I don't know how I feel, or 27. I don't know how I feel about that.
One must
So wouldn't you also need to really adjust the legendary Morning Lord items? And I don't think I'm down for that.
The robed figures vanish, and something stirs in the water. The creature collapses. A little voice in the darkness says,
You got rid of the monster.
And Cormier too. But really it's gonna, in this order, Thrain, Shadowdale, Moonsea, Cormier.
Good night.
There's a sudden gust of air, as if the entire building let loose a sigh.
Good, I'm glad the favored memories keep on helped you out there. What will be the first weapon type I'll make with chill crafting? Well, assuming it's this character, I'll probably do something like a great sword or great axe, and it'll be that. And I don't know the properties yet. I'm just gonna have to figure that part out, really. But presumably it'll be a great sword. I have, like, improved crit slashing on this character. Otherwise, it's a lot of PRR, MRR, other things. Hope not to the house. Yeah, I'm using the Sword of Shadow. I think I'm actually using it, right? Yeah, I'm using the actual Sword of Shadow here. I picked it up at level 10. Once I hit level 10, I was like, well, this is probably the best two-hander I have right now, so I just used that. You know what? Let me pop that to over here.
Voices, ragged and carping, come from the other side of the windmill. Peasants with joyless faces and vacant eyes wait in a line. An indistinct murmur past an old woman's voice. The old woman's voice grows cold.
Aye, they were here yesterday. Wanted pies and hadn't the coin. I told them to go home, but did they listen? No. Off they trotted into the forest, with the moon full and all.
Yes, I don't have any bluff, so it's not doing anything for me.
Oh, the old woman sneers. You layabouts will try and rob me blind, or tear the place apart looking for the pies we haven't got.
Okay. Yes, the 20th. The Chill of Ravenloft is currently set to release on Wednesday, August 20th. Next Wednesday.
Its cry echoed first here, then there. The wind whispers treacherously among the upper boughs.
It is true that that Sword of Shadow, the ultimate OP weapon. I mean, is it? But maybe it is. If like you say, it's still in play all these almost 2 decades later as like the best sword. I guess this is why you don't give everything a +2 crit profile. This corpse is nearly beyond recognition, so savagely has it been mended by the wolves. The cosmetic outfit I'm using is from the Chill of Ravenloft Adventure Pack as well. Or not Adventure Pack, expansion. It's the Resurrectionist. The Dark Resurrectionist. Yeah, honestly, it's... I mean, clearly I'm using the Sword of Shadow because it's awesome, so I can't have that big a problem with it. But it is true that this thing has been basically OP for 15, 20 years. But it's so beloved, you know, so many people use it that the idea of nerfing the Sword of Shadow, oh my god. Can you imagine? We could do it whenever we get an intern community person. We could dedicate a whole bunch of time to just dealing with forum backlash. Well, it's true, and that's always been the argument, right? Is that other two-handers, you know, might... that is, you know, here's the thing, though. I've been a part of this debate for as long as everyone has, so I'm not unaware. The reality is there are plenty of alternatives to the Sword of Shadow in 2025. It's just that it's easy, and lots of people have one. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. I think you could argue maybe even the Heroic Morning Lord at least comes fairly close. But ultimately, when you're sitting here on an alt and you've got that sort of shadow from the old Raiders reward box and that, and you're level just hit level 10, and you don't really have a good weapon otherwise, it's a great, great option. Hey, well, thank you, Valentina, for being right where I need you.
The ghost's story appears to be true. If so, then the women of the windmill are not what they appear to be, nor are their pies.
It's true, the Sword of Shadow is not a particularly good caster item.
Morgantha addresses the gathered peasants from up on the wooden platform.
Be off already! Shoo!
She says,
We've no more pies. How many times?
Also, the Sword of Shadow still is one of her coolest looking swords. I mean, we have other ones too, like Black Razor and some others, but pretty sweet looking sword to this day.
You thought that they did not know?
Morgantha howls.
Enough of this! Kill them, and you'll feast on outsider pies tonight.
That's the last of them. Now, for the pie makers within the windmill.
Yeah, there's a bunch of good looking swords too, but
As a drench
I still often will glamour the Sword of Shadow just because it's useful. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, that's fine. Bring them all back. Boink. Now we'll be okay. Oops. Or maybe not. Oh, well. That is a lot. That is a lot. Let me try to solve this problem here. Okay, I don't need to spend shards though to do this. I got a thingy here. Or do I not? Yeah. Yes. Alright. Give myself a little room to breathe. Bring these people up if I can. Okay, Fear Reaper gone. I am having some problems. I am having some problems. What do I want to do? What if my problem is that I'm trying to depend on the hirelings too much, but also that I got 1, 2, 3 of them all just sort of piled up on me. And they're all champs. So, who is the weakest? It's probably you. That means I should probably go down here. I'll try this one more time here. good. One down. Uh-oh. I might have to just try this after I've spent a little more when I'm off camera here. This ain't working for me. Alright, well, let's do that then. I'm just going to release out, and I'll deal with this. Perhaps go in on an easier difficulty, or just not have 3 champs on the end of my live stream here. So, because that ain't working, and I'm not going to bash my way through that. So, I'll deal with it later. I think that's really gonna, yeah, or just run with some people online. I'll take care of it that way. That's actually a pretty fun way. If I've got time to do it this weekend, maybe I'll do that. I'll just pop into Thrain and put up an LFM and get some help with that. So, oh, and clearly I have not died since Isle of Dread. I ran that too. So, well, thank you for watching Fridays at 4 on twitch.tv/DDO stream. I'll see you next week. We'll be running Chill the Ravenloft, almost certainly, on either this character or on Orion with my level capped character. Probably an Orion, maybe, but we'll see where we end up by next Wednesday. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you have a great DDO weekend. Hope you enjoy... Oh, the one thing I didn't get to is the boost for this weekend, which is a 5%, if I recall, 5% Reaper XP boost, along with 5% VIP XP, and that's through Sunday as well, so that's another bit of news. Alright, thanks. Have fun. See you next week.